like go in and add the backdrop. It says live, but it's unlisted. So I'm doing it, and then I download it, and then I do it in post.
I figured as you're in the middle of talking backstage stuff while hitting the live button.
I mean, no, it gives us like a blooper reel later if we want it.
Oh, great.
All right, everybody.
I know what I'm here for.
What are we here for?
Blooper reel.
Blooper reels.
Okay, yes. And welcome, everybody. This is the way.
This is the way.
And I'm glad Aaron's here because he's so much better at doing these intros than I am. We're here to talk about the Mandalorian, the new chapter that came out this week, the tragedy. Very evocative. It's one of those that, like, I saw that title and I'm like, oh, the tragedy, and it made me think of the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise. Like, are we going to hear a story? And it's like, no, action, explosions, excitement,
action, go, move.
We're spoiling things. Boba Fett, all that. What'd you guys think?
I was gonna say your pre-prediction, as much as that would have been interesting, of just a half hour of story time. I don't know if Robert Rodriguez is capable of ever doing that.
Nope,
not at all. I'm glad
he is not. I thought this was a whole lot of fun, a whole lot of surprise moments packed into. I mean, as many surprise moments as we got with the previous Ahsoka episode. This one had even more in a tighter amount of time, but it didn't. Those moments didn't feel rushed, which I really appreciated. The thing clipped along and moved the whole episode, but it didn't feel that they were rushing through those moments, especially because there was even a couple of things that they said a few too many times. I'm going, all right, we get it. But I love the fact that the big surprise moments did not feel rushed at all, which was nice.
No, Aaron, Boba. Well, like we can't talk about that episode without talking about Boba. But that opening,
we could, but it'd be difficult.
Yeah, it would be. It'd be very difficult. But that opening thing, like you have him connecting with Grogu, he's doing the ball thing, and that's like a really like soft moment right there. But then right after that, you're on the place. He's like, we're gonna go in with the top down, and then once you get to that rock, you just see Slave One, and it's like, okay, something's about to happen. Yeah. But
we just talk about that moment though, that we're going in with the top down, and how beautiful that visual was, and how awesome it shows about the special effects team working on this show, because that was an exquisite, burned in my memory now forever. A scene, because I loved that scene, especially being a dad, and you really seeing the relationship between Grogu and Din, solidifying even more, and then him even trying to turn away, going, no, I told him, I said I was going to do this, I got to do this, and then that shot of him flying with you first see Grogu, and then it extended to him flying with him. It was just, that was really, really a solid imagery. It was beautiful.
And it mirrors the image at the end of the episode where he's flying away with the Dark Trooper, and he's
with
terrified.
The Dark Troopers, yeah, exactly, yeah. In fact, that at the end and during the credits, how they do the production art, the look on Grogu's face in that production still was amazing. It was terrifying and awesome. Yeah. That was great. Yeah.
So is that the tragedy that we're witnessing? Is like Baby Yoda being kidnapped?
Oh, yeah.
That's the tragedy.
Yeah.
Or is it the destruction of the Razor Crest?
Gone. This is almost
like you know what I mean?
Yeah. It is.
I thought he was going to get a new ship like last season, but then after they like repaired it in a couple episodes ago when they went to see Carl Weathers, it's like, okay, well, they just had this aerial battle that I don't think this ship's going to go anywhere because they've just fixed it. And then, and that was a classic Robert Rodriguez type explosion there.
Yep.
I could tell he directed this episode because I don't like looking at the director before the episode or the title. I
don't either. I don't look at it.
Hearing the director list before, I'm like, okay, who did this one? Who did this one? And as soon as I saw like it was kind of like a GoPro shot, I'm like, okay, this is the Rodriguez.
Yeah, there's a lot.
This is Rodriguez.
There's a lot of handheld stuff in this episode. That's one of the things I like. It's not. The handheld shots are not traditionally Star Wars, but it brings a totally different feel. And honestly, the main fight sequence that takes up this episode is a different feel from anything you've ever seen in Star Wars. We've never really seen more than one bounty hunter take on an army like that. And they are bounty hunters. It's what they are. So it's an interesting predicament of, especially because in the original trilogy, bounty hunters were almost exclusively associated with the Empire.
Yeah.
So much so that if you didn't know anything about the lore, you'd think they just worked for the Empire. Especially with Boba Fett's role in the movie. So it is interesting to see him almost have an antagonistic look at them. And when he sees the Star Destroyer, and it's just like, they're back. Like that panic almost.
I was worried there. I thought he was gonna fly into the hangar there, like, oh, they're back. These guys like me. I'm gonna go work for them now. Like, I was worried for a second that Mando and Fennec were gonna be stranded on the planet. What did you think of Ming-Na returning? Like, that was something that we heard about. I loved it because I thought that you brought her back, bring on this character last season, this great actress Ming-Na Wen, and then you kill her right in the first episode. She did not get to be Ming-Na Wen last season, but then when she showed up in this episode, I'm like, okay, this is what you hire Ming-Na Wen for. Like,
I liked it. Yeah, I liked it because, oh god, that shot, and actually the scene of her pushing the rock, that was really great. I mean, she brought a lot of, we talk a lot about the helmet acting and the fact that we can't see faces, but we get so much information. That's the skill level when she was pushing that in the intense and the fear and adrenaline. That was a really cool moment. Because before that, I didn't really care because I didn't like that character that much in the last season.
Yeah.
Because it was in the worst episode, in my opinion, of the last season.
Yeah, absolutely.
Although I rewatched the one after that with the Bill Burr episode, and I really kind of hate that episode too. But I really kind of
I completely disagree. Go ahead.
Yeah, I like it. It's like a standalone thing.
Yeah, but it wasn't what I wanted. And what I was really happy about with this episode was, because we're going to talk about, with her character coming back is because of Boba Fett bringing her back, bringing her back to life. Now, as much as I knew Boba Fett was back from legends and lore stuff because of books and things, and I was never on the train of, there's certain characters you just can't bring back. You just can't do it. But Boba Fett went out like a little punk and Jedi, and so yes, he needs to come back because he's awesome. And especially he solidified that with how they filmed him this one. With or without the armor on, he was an aggressive ass-kicking machine. It was great. Brutal and fantastic. Because we've never seen broken armor before. We've never seen, armor shatter like that, the Stormtrooper's armor.
Can somebody get me a sock?
That was really cool.
Yeah.
But I liked the connection that they gave her to him, the Fennec character, to him when she says, look, he put me back together or had me put back together. I thought, well, that is really cool. I actually appreciated that because we haven't seen a lot of that, android parts on a person. We saw a hell of a lot of it with everybody's hands in the original films.
Plumbing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it was really cool to see another part of a person with that kind of done to them. And it made their connection. Okay, I can see why she's riding with him now. And that's a nice little connection thing, which I thought was cool.
And it was good to see, don't you guys think that it was good to see Boba Fett kind of being a good guy? That's something I really liked in this episode. Because at first, it's like, okay, hey, I just want the armor. I don't care about the child. I don't care about your armor. I'll protect him. Need my armor back. And just as the Empire starts shooting, they didn't even shake on it or anything like that. Boba doesn't know that Mando agreed to it, but he's fighting to protect the child right away. Like him and Fennec are fighting to protect him right when those stormtroopers show up. And both of them used to work for the Empire, so they could have easily just gone, no, hey, no, you take it, leave us, let us take Boba's armor with us. And you can kill Mando all you want, but they stood up for the child. And Fennec has a moment where the stormtroopers are coming at it. It's like she's cornered, and they say we don't want you, we want the child. And they're not gonna shoot her. She teams up with them, but she chooses not to. And then Mando says, "I owe you for last time." So I think that's kind of why they did bring her back, because last time we didn't really get a lot of character from her. We knew she was wanted
No.
by the guild for like bounties and stuff, but
Mhm.
I mean the child's wanted by was wanted by the guild like for a bounty. So that doesn't actually mean she's a bad person. She was just trying to stop herself from getting killed or caught. So
Mhm.
that's the real bad guy that episode was Toro. Is the Bobby Cannavale's son.
Jake Cannavale, yeah.
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 Which maybe I want to see Bobby Cannavale on, like, just play his father just to come back as like for revenge. It's like, you killed my douchebag son. Now I'm gonna kill
Boom.
you.
um, I liked. Yeah, I thought it was good to see him as a good guy. It was good to see him as an ambiguous character because even though he did the right thing in the end by protecting the child and all that. At first he's going, look, I got a gun on the child. I know she'll take him out if you mess with me. I just want this, and if you don't give it to me, it's on. But I like the fact that he was so easy, also quickly to go, all right, let's talk about this. Let's take the gun off. Let's do this, and let's negotiate. Especially because the one thing, I hate the prequels. So all the talk about Django and all that, but in my mind, I put it to that stuff happened in Legends because the prequels don't exist, but the storylines can happen in Legends. So that when he was talking about this was my father's armor, and yep, this was my father's armor, and it's going to be mine. I just put it to that. So, but then it was easy for me to not be so, well, how does he feel about Jedi? Because in the prequels, a Jedi killed his dad right in front of him, and he picked his dad's head up. You know what I'm saying? So that's a little weird and could be traumatizing, I would imagine, if those movies happened, but they didn't. So it was easy for my mind. It was easy for my mind that we're not going to get his feelings about a Jedi unless in the next episode he's going to get Ahsoka to round out his team to go get the child, and then we see a confrontation between Ahsoka and Boba in some kind of way. Even if it's a conversation, that'd be cool. But it would be cool to see that kind of interaction.
Because didn't they have and Nikki, you might know this a little more than I do. I believe they had interactions with each other in the Clone Wars show, didn't they?
Boba, I'm trying to think if Boba and Ahsoka ever met in the Clone Wars.
Ever met in the Clone Wars?
Yeah, because Boba was especially in the later seasons, like season 4 and 5, he was a recurring character. He did show up a couple times.
Yeah, there's episodes where she's on the same episode as him. But like there's an episode where the Obi-Wan stays like prison break, and Boba Fett's in it. But I don't think Ahsoka ever actually crosses paths with Boba. He crosses paths with Ventress. Like he works a job with Ventress. But I'm trying to think.
So does he work with? Because I'm not familiar with the Clone Wars.
Boba Fett.
In the Clone Wars, Boba Fett is basically portrayed as, just a couple years older than he was in the movie, but it's essentially he's got nothing left, so he's just
working with
trying to upstart being a bounty hunter. He's just doing what he can to just upstart that, basically.
But he wants to kill Mace. Like that. That's
does he have? Does he have the armor?
Not
no.
So when we first see him, the armor doesn't fit him yet, so he's like kind of wearing a Django type jumpsuit, and then he has like the blasters. We never see him get the armor, like start wearing the armor in it, because that was going to be later episodes. There was going to be a duel between but I think the only time him and Ahsoka ever and they don't even really interact because Anakin and Mace are like stranded on a planet where Boba Fett no, they do interact, because then they go to see Hondo. They go to see Hondo because Boba Fett and Aurra Sing go to hide out in Hondo. So Ahsoka and Boba did meet when they were both kids, but I don't even think that Ahsoka would remember him or maybe
recognize him.
So I had another question that kind of plays into the lore aspect of it, something that I've never understood completely. So he what he's implying in this episode is that the Boba Fett armor is the same armor that dates all the way back to the Jango Fett armor. It's the same exact armor.
It's the same armor he just
but
that's what they said.
Alike. They look
the different colors, everything.
He painted it.
He painted. Sure.
We never saw him do that, but
that's just one of the things that never clicked, because I was like the prequel, as the prequels tried to look with everything, it's sleek down, silver, designed, whereas the other one was rugged looking. No, I think this episode was awesome. One of the things that I liked about it was because this is one of the things I've just generally never understood complaints about is whenever people go, the episodes are too short, especially with season 1. I think an episode only needs to be as long as it needs to be, and as long as the story feels complete, then you're good.
Yep.
The only time I ever watched an episode in season 1 and thought this should have been longer was the 4th episode, where they tried basically doing the Magnificent Seven in 30 minutes. And it's like, wow, this feels really rushed. In a 2-minute montage, you have a village of fighters now who can take down people that can, like, who are at least advanced enough to run Imperial equipment. Like, this seems BS. But other than that, all the episodes felt the fine length to me. This season overall has been a little bit longer, but this episode, I believe, might be the shortest of any of the episodes in the show.
Yeah.
But it worked.
I'm pretty sure it is.
It worked brilliantly,
Yeah, it fits to Robert Rodriguez's pace. It gets everything in that it needs to get. Honestly, the episode, I would say it's almost perfect. The only missteps the episode had for me, this one's not, neither of these are that big. They're just little nitpicks I noticed. I don't know why he needed to run at the shield and get blown back 3 different times. I feel like after maybe the second time you'd figure out, okay, this is just going to be done. Happening.
Yeah.
And then the other thing was, and I don't know if either of you are here for it, but I was joking about it last night before After Dark. As much as I love the handheld shots, some of those shots reminded me way too much of Power Rangers. Specifically, when Boba jumps in and they do the cut shots of the armor, and it's like, oh, he's the 6th Power Ranger that's coming to save the team. Yep. Okay, that makes sense. Like,
so you're talking early Power Rangers, right?
Oh, early, like Mighty Morphin.
I did kind of get that. Like, okay, this is repurposed footage from Japan that they have just taken out of stormtroopers running in a field.
Replace the stormtroopers with the putties, and like it's all the same thing. Yeah, it's which I mean that in the best way possible.
That might have been second unit stuff too.
I still thought it was quality, but it's like it's just weird how like why is this what it's striking me as so easily?
Do you like that boulder?
No, that makes sense.
I like that boulder. That is a nice boulder.
I like that both. What I really liked, and using the handheld shots, I like the fact that we got to see so much, and we've seen bits and pieces, but we got to see a lot of the stormtroopers, bad shots and all, coordinating. Yes. Go that way, go this way, do this. Yeah. I love when he said, "Go that way, idiot." I love that moment.
Like, yeah, you up there.
Shot, and it's just like
exactly.
No. Yeah,
I just love that moment.
I like how they
I like the yellow stripe on the bomber armor. Oh, the guy who's doing the mortar. I love that yellow stripe. I want that toy. That's what I'm gonna get.
I was gonna say I do like the more and more we see of stormtroopers because the films never really showed anything of them. I do like how they're showing that they were truly a trained, organized military unit who just happened to never take shooting lessons. Like they're
meant to overwhelm. They're not meant to.
Yeah, they're meant to overwhelm. Exactly.
Which is why I think it's funny that especially in this show, because we've seen it more than once now. The only time they're ever effective is when they get out that fucking big ass gun on the tripod and just go.
Even that, all he has to do is jump aside of it, and he's shooting it instead.
Right. Although when right before Boba came with the armor, Mando was getting shot quite a bit. He was protecting Fennec by standing in front of her, and he was getting the hell blown out of him. So that was kind of nice.
I always had a theory about. Oh, sorry.
Well, no. I was just going to say one of the small details, and this isn't the first episode to do it. They showed it a lot in the Bo-Katan episode, and they showed it in the prison episode from last season as well. I really do like how, despite the fact that, he's wearing this impenetrable armor that can't hurt him, they do at least, whether it's Pedro or the stunt doubles, whoever's in the suit at any given moment, I do like how they're acting and reacting as if they really are getting hurt. Like it's almost like the equivalent of like a BB hitting the pad. Like, sure, it's not gonna hurt you, but it's gonna fucking hurt. Like
it's gonna, you're gonna feel it. Yeah, you're feeling it
the wrong way. But at some point, I want to see Mando's body. Like, show me him without the armor. I want, you know what I'm saying? Like with Batman, like when Batman's in the Batcave and he's stitching himself up. We saw that like in chapter 2, like he was stitching himself up a little bit. But I want to see how bruised he is from that, because you got to imagine like that he's just got bruises and like broken ribs from that, because it's still blasting him.
Are we talking like Mando, no suit, helmet still on, just helmet and tighty whities? Is that what we're talking for episode 7?
I
Is
mean,
that what
I
we're
wouldn't
wanting?
even. I would just like kind of torso it just so that you can see how bruised he is. Like,
Okay,
and then
okay.
subtlety, Aaron, subtlety. All right, this isn't Game of Thrones. He's not gonna be in bed with a woman and a man at the same time and grab both their
tidy
asses.
whities. They'd never have tidy whities in Game of Thrones.
Well, speaking of that,
straight up
they were off.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I liked Boba with armor, but you could still see his cloak underneath.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I want that action figure. The fact that hey man, with the dad bod, bro, that's it. He's an old man now. Let's go. I loved it. And because I was thinking, oh, maybe he doesn't have legs on the armor. But then nope, I got knee missiles, bro.
Knee darts.
Shot everybody else. This was so
First time we see knee darts like in live action. But the stormtroopers. Before I forget, so do you think that the stormtroopers being terrible, this is more of a greater Star Wars perspective. I've been viewing that recently, is like the dark side, they feed off of death. Like the more people that are dying and suffering in the galaxy, the more powerful they are. So I always thought that was just like to bring up the number count, like bring up the casualty count, because she was running the war on both sides in the Clone Wars, and then with the Empire, he wants people to be afraid of those stormtroopers, but at the same time, he wants them to die because that gives him power too.
Gives him more power.
Yeah,
I think it's basically it's just pawns. Pawns can overwhelm if you get too many of them going, and it can show you how effective or ineffective your enemy is. If you send in those two things of storm, well, and that's what Moff Gideon did. He sent all those stormtroopers to see what they could do, and he goes, okay, well, they clearly took those guys out, and so now I got to send in the big guns, and literally blew up the ship, and then said, now, all right, let's see this, and then sent the dark troopers down, which did their job. And he used his tools, his resources as much as he needed to without wasting. Because you also got to imagine that even though Boba says the Empire's back, we don't know what extent it is. It could be that one ship, because the First Order, quote unquote, is still a number of years of being created. So we don't know if Moff Gideon is trying to reestablish it or rebuild his own thing. Yeah, we don't know where we're going. So I like the fact that it was I like the fact that we just had the stormtroopers, and then okay, they're not effective. I'll blast your ship to let you know that I got the big gun, literally, and then send down the dark troopers to get the assets or the donor, I guess.
Like people were saying that they were too slow once they landed, and I think they're misunderstanding that. No, that was calculated. That was like them circling. And then it's kind of like a shot in Black Panther where like they're all moving in with the spears and like circling them in. It was to kind of encapsulate him so that in case he started to like run away, one of them could grab him. So they're slowly moving in.
Yeah, I like that moment. I thought it was well done.
Yeah, and I love how Boba fails upwards in this episode. Because Boba Fett, like that's one of the things that's in the people have said kind of in Robot Chicken type things, is that Boba Fett is the worst bounty hunter in the galaxy because he's always failing upwards. He shoots the thing, even right when he's targeting it, I'm like, no, target the other one, because then that one's gonna fall into it. He's like, I was aiming for the other one. He fails in what he's trying to do, but he ends up doing something better in the process.
Yeah, that was a nice.
I like that shot, Fennec running on the rocks, like where she's just running on top of the rocks. Big, like I think it was a drone shot. Don't get a lot of drone shots on this show, so I like that.
We got quite a few of them in this, which was cool. Yeah, it was really well directed. He used all of the time that he needed. And then when he needed to slow things down, it slowed it down and added the tension where it needed to go, but didn't waste any time with unnecessary things. I thought this was, even the subtlety of, this moment, we see the Slave One come in and it wasn't fast and sweeping.
quiet.
Oh,
Yeah,
what was
it's like-
that? It was awesome. I went, that is really effective and really cool. It doesn't waste time, but also doesn't try to, oh, is it slave one? Is it not? No, that's what it is. It's coming.
They're not hiding.
I wasn't sure who was on it at first. Like that was my first thought. Was like,
yeah, that
okay,
was a
Do you think is it Boba? Because like, where did he park that ship? Like, did he have his own parking lot on Tatooine where or does he just go in the middle of the desert and just
go in the middle of the
lands
desert and there it is.
sandstorms
Well,
and
there's a
stuff?
lot of questions that I hope we get, but I kind of don't need.
I don't
You know,
need it.
for example, why didn't he go get the armor from Cobb Vanth? Why? He could have done that.
So the
but he
reason for that is
didn't.
they wrote a terrible book called Aftermath.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't that
Yeah.
Cobb Vanth? They made lemonade out of bantha fodder when it comes to that first episode, because that first episode with Cobb Vanth, they made Cobb Vanth a cool character, and I remember reading the Aftermath book with that character being like, this sucks.
He's not that great.
Like, I don't want
Yeah,
somebody
it's
else to
not
have
that
Boba
great.
Fett's armor. So
Right?
the way that they did that, it's just because he had the armor in the book, and they had to like explain it away.
Yeah, explain all
And
that.
they didn't want to uncanon. They didn't want to say, well, okay, well, the biggest book that we released since we started isn't even canon anymore, because none of the books are, like, they're canon until they come up with a better story.
Exactly. And I thought, from my mind, again, I was given a backstory going, well, maybe Boba Fett spent all these years in seclusion on Tatooine, because that's where you go when you want to seclude, I guess.
I thought maybe it was Creed.
Well, I thought, either that or he just became a more honorable person.
Yeah.
Just a more honorable person. He needed that to purge all that stuff. So that's why if he does interact with a Jedi in the next couple episodes, if he even says, a Jedi killed my father, but I've made peace with that. That's what I've been, and it's a simple line like that, simple anything. I don't need anything else.
That'd be a callback to the Clone Wars too, because Mace even tells him, he says, I know what I did was wrong, but you killed my father. And Mace says, you're just going to have to learn to live with that.
Yeah.
So it looks like he has, because he doesn't like see Baby Yoda and be like,
yeah, he doesn't even say, or, just destroy the temple.
You just see it in his face, though. Because he says Jedi, and like that could have been like a really triggering moment for him. Like, oh,
nope.
Jedi.
Jedi.
Wait,
it was just Jedi.
Okay, that's not what I'm here for.
Yeah. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to do this. Yeah.
You're a prequel baby, for lack of a better term. Like
sure, I like them slightly more than Alan, but yeah, I grew up during them. Yes.
Yeah. I'm just trying to like create a time. Those were the movies that were coming out when you were a kid.
Wrong.
Yes. So I was born October of '99, so I would have been around 3 when the second one came out, and 5 or 6 when the third one came out. I'm trying to remember exact time, but yeah.
Oh wow.
So because honestly, for me, I would say because I was so young when they came out, I would actually say in terms of release, the newer films would line up more with me, because I could actually go see them in theaters. The first time I ever saw any of the Star Wars films, all the prequels had been released already. Like, I didn't see them as they were coming out. So, but yeah, I was alive when they were happening, absolutely, and I was young, and I'd see the toys in stores and stuff, but I'd never seen the movies or anything.
No. So what did that mean though? Like the Django, were you? Do you have Alan's view where the prequels just didn't happen to you, or do you like when they make callbacks to the prequels? Because I love it. I love it when they make.
I mean, I will acknowledge that they exist, but I also this is a completely different discussion. But I also know that Alan doesn't acknowledge that season 9 of Scrubs exists. And having recently watched it, I will say it is half decent enough to admit that it exists. But
it's like Disney's Doug. I don't acknowledge Disney's Doug.
Disney's Doug. Only the other Doug, not Disney's Doug.
Not Disney's Doug, exactly.
Yeah. So I mean, honestly, it's to me, it comes off as something that I've seen Star Wars do a lot. And and it happens in all sorts of different types of canon, whether it's like with Cobb Vanth in the first episode, based off everything I've heard from the Aftermath books, or whether it be taking something from the films and trying to expand on it in the expanded canon, or whether it be potentially where we could go, one of the paths we could go down with the cloning is trying to correct something in Rise of Skywalker, possibly, if it lines up.
Yeah.
I don't connect to it in any sort of way, but I see it just more as canon connection or canon validation in that sense of like, okay, here's something from canon that some people liked and a lot of people did not, but we can clearly and easily make the connection to something here that people are enjoying. And so maybe by creating the correlation, you know, especially because Tamara Morrison is portraying Boba Fett and he was the actor that portrayed Jango Fett. Maybe it's just small connections to kind of validate and make it easier swallowing of things you maybe don't like to other pieces of canon. That being said, it didn't do anything special for me, especially because I would say Attack of the Clones is the worst of the films. Nothing to do with Jango Fett. I think the stuff with Obi-Wan's the best part of that film, and that sequence is great.
That fight in the rain is incredible. I was just watching it yesterday. I think it's better than I originally saw it. Alan's
like, what movie is this? When did this come out?
What? I don't understand what film you're talking about. Okay.
What did you think of
Well, no, I see. I do appreciate when they do things like that because the whole origin of Mando is that, you know, that robot. What are they called?
Droid.
The destroyer droid about to blast him. And I love that. So I do like when they take the stuff from the prequels and make it, you know, if they do good by it. And they have been so far, knock wood, they've been doing great. So I didn't mind even the name Jango Fett, because again, I don't think that should exist. But I didn't mind that because to me that was other canon kind of stuff. Because there's just too many things in the prequels that don't make any sense. I can't handle it.
Would you prefer Django if we edited those films and just put Jamie Foxx in and put a D in front of the J and did Django?
Yes. Because that is my favorite Tarantino film. So yes.
It's worth asking. Okay, so Django and Shane Fett. Let's do it.
Well, let's do it. I'm here for that. And I will say this: Tamara Morrison, bruh, he showed his acting skills in this episode, in this few minutes, because
I love how brutal he was.
Oh God, I love how brutal he was, and how honorable he was with, look, we said we're going to be with you until the child is safely returned to you. That's what we're going to do. And that little nod and that little, you know, all those little moments, he was killing it, man. I was thoroughly impressed with him.
It made me happy.
I was going to say, I'm just happy for him in general. He's been making a comeback over the last couple of years in some bigger projects. Yeah. Like, he was in Aquaman.
Aquaman's dad?
He was in Moana. Honestly, a weird movie to call out, but one that was surprisingly decent. He was also in the Dora movie last year. That movie's not bad. It's actually surprisingly good.
It's fun.
And he's good in it.
It's fun.
It looks like
really good in it. Me and my kids love that movie. It is. That's exactly what it is.
It's exactly what
it's
like.
It is. Yeah, it's awesome. It's so much fun, and it's on Disney Plus. So boom, there you go.
It's on Disney Plus. I'm gonna watch it.
Oh no, it's on Netflix. It's on Netflix.
On Netflix. Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Wow. Because me and the kids were just, hey, let's just watch this, and it was great. And Tamara Morrison, he's awesome. When I told my son that, you know, that's Moana's dad, he goes, what? And then he said, how cool would it be if Boba Fett starts singing?
And I heard something that his ethnic background. I wish I knew what it was. But
he's Maori. He's Maori from New Zealand.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they were saying his warrior heritage, like warriors of his ethnicity, did that type of like fighting and like grunting, like the warrior cries that he was doing every single time that he would hit.
I actually have a Maori weapon here somewhere.
Yeah, so that's one of the things one thing that was kind of like is the one like con of the episode, and it's not even a con because it's goofy. When Moff Gideon has Baby Yoda, they're in the much larger jail cell that we've ever seen in Star Wars before. That's the largest
ever.
jail
Baby Yoda got the prime treatment in that
why?
cell.
Right?
Like,
He got a big ass cell for a little bitty
that's
dude.
a small cruiser. That's not even a Star Destroyer. Like that
Nope.
that's a
It's
small
just a
one.
cruiser.
Yeah. But when Moff Gideon took out the lightsabers, you got one of these, huh? Like that reminded me of Darth Maul and Solo. Like, hey, look, it is me, Darth Maul.
It is me. Look at me. That was there were 2 lines in this that I went, oh, the scripts, ooh. And one was do you have one of these? And you can put your eye out.
So did he say
and
you could put your eye out? Or did he say you should put your eye out?
No. He said you could put your eye out with this kid.
I thought he was
it was basically because his boy Peter was in Christmas Story, and that line is in there. I guarantee that's why that line is in there like that.
I didn't
but that was
get
it.
that.
Those were the couple of lines that scripturally I went, that's kind of lame. But still, it doesn't make it too weighed down.
So I was gonna say the episode, if you want to get in towards the end of it, the episode ends on 2 interesting cliffhangers. So the first one is a more obvious one. We know that we're getting similar to the end of the first season. We're getting a gang together and they're gonna go do something. This one being made up of Boba Fett, Fennec. Gina Carano comes back as Cara Dune, and now especially Nicky, technically he's not confirmed as the director, so this isn't spoiling anything. But it is confirmed that Rick Famuyiwa is writing the next episode, and he wrote both his episodes last season. So you can only assume he's directing it. And now it's most likely confirmed that next episode will be about bringing back Bill Burr as Mayfield, who appeared in one episode last season, which was Rick Famuyiwa's. So
one I like the least.
So
but I like that character.
I do like the character.
The character was interesting. So this being the potential crew that we have going into the mission, which is bringing Baby Yoda back, is the first cliffhanger. The other one is we see, there's been this consistent rumor throughout the show of, could Baby Yoda go dark? And the Ahsoka episode kind of tapped into that a little bit with the emotions and the comparison to Anakin. And now at the end of this episode, we see, this little guy who's been able to lift rocks basically is now in a setting where he's in danger and he's straight up choking and throwing around stormtroopers. So what'd you guys think of the ending?
Well,
I love that. I absolutely love it. He didn't kill them. I think he just
blackmailed
them up.
Yeah.
But I love that because, and it really depends on what was happening within the blue call. Was that a true calling of some? Because if you notice, he was in the position with his, yoga style position. And so he was either calling or was he receiving information as well? Was he remembering, because there was talk of that he was trained in the Jedi Temple and all that. So I think it depends on what was happening within that time frame. But I love the fact that he was, and it's consistent. When he uses a lot of force power, he gets real tired. He wears out really quickly. So I like that aspect of it because that tells us a little bit about that species as well. That it's true with that species, the younger they are, they don't have the longevity maybe. And then Yoda, even when Yoda had some in the real films, not the prequels. He had some limitations too, physically, a little bit. As
you can see the old age was making him tired.
Yeah.
But yeah. So especially with you, Alan, as someone who didn't like that episode last season in the prison, so you're because funny enough, one of the things I knew those characters would come back. Like the Ming-Na Wen thing, I honestly didn't expect because I figured, she's dead. Like I thought that clip was just somebody found her body, so they're clearly tracking Din.
Yeah.
Whereas like they were left alive for a reason. And honestly, in Clancy's Brown case, he got smashed by 2 doors. I don't know how he was alive, but they're clearly alive, but it seems like unless they're keeping the other 2 characters as a surprise, it seems like they're only intending on bringing back Bill Burr. So what do you think of that potential crew?
I like because I like Bill Burr's character. And I liked Clancy Brown's character. I didn't like the Twi'leks at all.
Yeah.
And I liked that episode up until they started the actual prison break. I liked that episode because I liked the hangar guy that betrayed him at the end, and then they got killed. Exactly. I liked all those moments. I just didn't like the prison break scenes or that chunk of it.
I agree with you.
Before and after, I liked.
Used to be like.
Yeah, I guess exactly. You get to see what he used to be like, which I appreciated a lot. So Bill Burr's character, I loved. I love that. That was Bill Burr. Bill Burr is not the greatest actor in the world. He's Bill Burr, but I love Bill Burr. Right. So Bill Burr in this universe makes perfect sense to me. So it's all good being a bounty hunter, and I liked his little side gun or back gun that came out
with the robot arms.
Yeah. So I think this team will be a good team and a formidable team to go up against. There might be a Bo-Katan. There might be Bo might try to recruit her. That's another possibility.
Like, I think the end game of the show is Mando sitting on the throne. Like, he is the new Mandalore. Like, that's how I think the show ends. He sits on the throne. He holds the Darksaber. He is the new Mandalore. Because Bo said once we take Mandalore back, we will seat a new Mandalore.
A new Mandalorian. Well, I think
she doesn't want to leave.
I think the opposite. I think from what we know about this character of Din, I think he doesn't want that responsibility.
No.
He wants to be just doing his job. He's gained some more probably aspects of having this relationship with the child with Grogu that's going to change him a little bit. But I don't think ultimate leadership is his bag. I think that might be the case where you're going to be the guy because of all this. But I think he would probably more go, no, look, Bo, you do this because I don't really want to do this. I think that's more possible if it goes in that direction.
And my prediction on that comes from something from Clone Wars, something Bo said to Ahsoka on Clone Wars was like, it was like, I don't know if I can do what my sister did. Like I can't. I don't. Like, she's a conqueror. That's what she is. She will take the planet for like true Mandalorians, but I don't know, because she already lost the planet once, twice now at this point. So it's like once you decapitate, once the god bleeds, they stop believing him. So it's one of those things where, she's going to take Mandalore back. I'm just worried that she won't be able to leave, or that she might not make it. But any other predictions, Aaron, Spaceman, you got?
Off of only what we know in this episode, I don't know. I'm very curious to see where the next two episodes go. I can only assume, based off of the setup at the end of the episode, that the next episode, which I kind of find funny that they would go back to this well again, but it almost seems like it's going to be another prison break type episode where they're just going to spend the whole episode trying to break Mayfield out. And then the final episode, I imagine, will probably be another longer one like last season's finale, and it'll be them making the bid to go for Grogu and rescue him. It'll be.
Survive?
What happened?
Do you think
Moff Gideon survives?
I think they'll probably keep him alive, only because I think they'll want a long-standing villain throughout the show. I have seen some rumors spread on the internet after Thrawn was mentioned in the Ahsoka episode that maybe he might come in. I don't think that's where they'll go with it. That seems like it's something it'll be expanded on in other canon elsewhere, whether it's a show or a book or anything.
Not a book. If that's a book, I'd be so disappointed.
But I think Gideon will live only because all the he hasn't actually been in the show very much, but especially in this season, every episode has featured either a blip from him or it's building something about his character, whether it was like the doctor stuff in the Carl Weathers episode or his little appearances expanding. Now we know Dark Troopers are a thing in canon, and he's working on them. I just think I think he'll die before the show ends. But I think they'll want a continuous villain to be a part of it, and I think it's a great choice. I think Giancarlo Esposito is great in the role for what he's gotten
He's
to
doing
do
it on The
thus far.
Boys too. Like it kind of seems like they're using the same like strategy where it's like, okay, we're gonna sprinkle this guy in a couple episodes a season, and he'll be the big bad, and you'll want more of him, like, because
I
that's
mean,
the thing.
that's what he got big for in Breaking Bad with Gus
Yeah.
Fring, though, was that same
Yeah.
similar type of role. So
Yeah.
yeah, it makes sense. And I like how this guy's not like full on evil. Like he's got a little bit of charisma to him. He's got
Yeah.
an attitude about him. It's not just like I'm
Sassy.
bad, I'm the villain, I want to rule. It's like no, there's a little more there in terms of personality that makes him an interesting character to watch.
Mhm.
Honestly, I was gonna say the only thing that I would want them to do that I don't know if they will do is I'd like to see Carl Weathers back at least one more time. I like him in the show. I think he
Yeah.
works well with the chemistry, and I
Yep.
think he worked well in those team episodes at the end of last season. But I
Mhm.
understand if it's a point of like, well, we already have like 5 or 6 characters. It's like, okay,
Mhm.
I get why you leave him out.
Yeah, having too much.
Yeah.
And I thought his
Yeah.
episode was great as well. But so I don't obviously this is the first time I've talked with it with you guys. Full disclosure, I binged episodes 2 through 6 yesterday, so I've only
Nice.
just seen all of it.
Oh, wow.
I think the season overall has been solid, and I would probably say overall it's better than season 1, because unlike season 1 where I thought both of Filoni's episodes were clearly weaker than the rest of them, this season
Yes.
every episode has been of at least a consistent quality.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think this might be the best episode since the first one. I don't know if it's better because I really love that first episode as a
It's
standalone
like a movie,
story.
that first one. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think all the episodes have been great since, but to me, I think this one might be the best of them. And I know like the Bo-Katan episode got hyped up, the Ahsoka episode got hyped up, and that's because, you know, the intense Star Wars fans are seeing something brought to screen in a live action format they've never seen before. As someone who likes Star Wars but not on that level, I only judge those episodes as episodes. The Ahsoka episode I thought was great. The Bo-Katan one I had some issues with. Specifically the final action sequence I had a real problem with. It was like 4 different segments of walk into hallway, stormtroopers shoot, we hide behind walls, Mando defeats them. Like it was the same sequence, which we already saw in the prison episode last season, and I thought it was done better there because it was a little more creative.
Yeah.
But what do you guys think? I don't know what your thoughts are on what the best episode is, but I don't know yet if this is the best one, but I would venture to say it is at least the best one since the first episode.
I think every episode has a lot of good a lot of good aspects, a lot of things that are kind of important. I like the fact that we're seeing improvements in the directing from continuous directors, because Bryce Dallas Howard's episode in season 1 was good, but I liked her Bo-Katan episode way better as far as visual
on a
storytelling.
directing level, yes, it was an improvement for sure.
And Filoni's was leaps and bounds better in directing than his episode. Yeah.
Did predict that. We said that when we talked last week. Like
last week about
George was on set during.
He was there. Yeah. So I think that was
that episode.
Yeah. So I hope that continues. That directors get there, they're finding their footing, and and I think they're all helping each other out too in some regard a little bit.
Oh
yeah. I've liked this season more consistently because there hasn't been an episode that I've rewatched every episode. In season 1, there's a couple episodes I don't rewatch. I did recently just because, but I remembered why I didn't, because I don't like this that much.
There's more filler in season 1.
There's more filler in season 1. Yeah.
Well,
the only filler I would.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
The only filler, I can't even pick my favorite episode this season because they're all just really great. The only one I think was kind of fillery was the second one. That could,
I would say that's the weakest.
The eggs and the
I would say that's the weakest, and it was a great sequence. My problem with that episode is outside of that one really cool looking sequence, the episode was a lot of standing around and doing nothing.
Yeah.
So it's like, we need 8 episodes. Crash Land them. and see what happens.
Yeah. Crash land and see what happens. Yeah.
But
I love those designs of the spiders, though.
They were awesome.
They were awesome.
But I was gonna say, I that's one thing I can't say about the season is even something like episode 2, where I don't think it's as strong as the other episodes. I think all of these episodes are at least, if we're talking like out of 4 stars, I think they're all at least 3 stars. I think they are all legitimately good episodes. Whereas I rewatched season 1 before I binged season 2, and it was like episode 1's a fine pilot, but it's not the best episode. And then obviously episode 5 was Filoni's other one. That one was weak. I thought Bryce Dallas Howard's episode just suffered from first-time director syndrome. There's some things there that didn't quite click. And I loved Rick Famuyiwa's episode, but I know it's divisive. So I know as many people who feel the way I feel as who feel the way you feel. Rewatching it and then following into season 2, what I noticed is the biggest difference is I don't think any of the episodes in season 1 feel like filler, because even if technically speaking, the Cara Dune episode is filler, but it gives you a new character that expands on, and it does that. And now we're learning that episodes 5 and 6, because they were writing season 2 while doing episode 1, so it's all clearly planned. Episode 5, it introduced the first possible spur of Boba. It introduced Fennec, which was a character brought back. Episode 6 introduced Mayfield and the prison system, and even then, the scene where they're all standing around the dude from the Clone Wars playing the prison guard, and they kill him. Right, and they kill him. That comes back in season 2 in one of the earlier episodes, where they're like, we have records that show you tried to defend one of our prison guards. It all comes back.
And that's why each episode is a next chapter of the story.
Right. Exactly. That's exactly right.
2, chapter 1.
Yeah.
They definitely have a narrative structure.
A through line.
What they want to do here. You guys got some trivia coming up today, right?
We got some stuff to bounce to, so but
where can we find you guys?
I always look forward to these. Aaron, it's good to have you. Hope we have you next week on here. Because I like all these different voices. We'll be doing some trivias. You can always find us in the trivia world. I'm actually doing a show. I agreed to do a play that opens this Friday, and I started it Wednesday because the lead actor dropped out. And so I shot myself in the foot, but it is going to be available online. So if you guys want to check that out, I'll post the links all to my things and you guys can check it out. And it's pretty interesting. I cry a lot. So that's kind of fun.
That's
but
good
to see
you. Shots.
Can you bring the tears?
Bruh. Come on.
He just thinks about the prequels existing and it just flows.
We'll have a crying contest one of these days.
We will. But it was good to see you, brothers, and I'm excited for what we get this week that we'll be talking about next week. All right.
See you guys later, right here.
Woo.
I'm horrible at opening and closing.
This is
nice.